Cheryl Lyon. Welcome to our second virtual cookbook discussion group. We are going to be doing Christmas in July. Why not try that? We thought it'd be fun. Just a reminder, we have plenty of Christmas books that you can check out, whether it be on crafts or baking, which is one of my favorites right over here. And we are going to be doing 2 recipes today. When you think of Christmas, I think of baking because I love to bake. So I think of sugar cookies, bonbons, how about Buckeyes? How about fudge? So anyway, today I picked out a couple recipes I thought you might enjoy doing. First one is Jingle Balls, no bake, sugar cookie balls. Sound yummy? Well, they are. I already tried them last week. Second, we'll be doing a Mary Cherry Fudge. So I think you probably have the recipe cards for this. So I've already softened the butter. One thing about butter is if you don't have it at room temperature, it's not going to work well. I had this at room temperature for 2 hours. It seemed a little stiff, so I did put it in the microwave, but it has to be soft. Don't melt it, and use real butter. So I've already got in the 3/4 of a cup plus the 2 tablespoons of butter. We are going to add 2/3 cup of white sugar, which I've already got pre-measured out. And we're going to go ahead and mix that in. Now, 2 things here that are very important when you're making these sugar cookie balls. Since there's no eggs, remember, you can eat them right just like that. We are using real vanilla, 1 tablespoon of real vanilla, and real almond extract. Don't use imitation, it will not be the same. So once we have got this, the sugar and the butter all mixed up, then we'll add both of our extracts. So I have my tablespoon measurements. So we're going to do a whole tablespoon of vanilla. And what really makes these stand out is the almond flavoring. Okay, so here's our vanilla. And it says 1/8 to 1/4 of a teaspoon of the almond extract. But I used 1/4 at home because it really gave it the flavor, so we're going to do it that way. To just make sure it's not imitation. I did have a hard time finding the real stuff. And I'm going to show you what I did at home last week because I want to try these to see how well they really worked. I made, what you can do them in different colors. I made the green ones, and we're going to do red ones today. So what I did is I made them in the green, and then I just rolled them in different color of sprinkles. I get most of my cookie sprinkles at Amish bulk food stores. So we're going to add our flour next, which I've already pre-measured. And this is going to make a full batch. It says on the recipe, if you think it's a little too sticky, to put it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes. And when I made them at home, I had no problem at all. They were just perfect. So we'll see what happens today. As you can see, we're just kind of mixing it all in. For those who like regular sugar cookies, I've got some wonderful recipes, and we have so many good cookbooks here at the library to check for different sugar cookie recipes. But since we wanted to make something today that is no bake, which I thought would be easier, so we'll just mix this up real good. And once we got the butter and the flour, sometimes things can come out a little dry, then you'll just have to add a little bit of water or milk to it. And the best thing, obviously, is just to work with your hands. Because it does seem just a little bit dry. And then once we get mixed up, we're going to add a little bit of red food coloring to it. And then I've got 2 different kind of sprinkles we're going to use. We're going to use rainbow sprinkles for the one to roll them in. And then the other one is actually red and green sugar that's already combined. So we're going to do that. Now let's see if it's going to work up as well as it did at home last week. Now we'll use our hands and then we'll start seeing how that goes, but it's definitely not sticky. So we'll get our red food coloring out here and put a little bit of that in. I think we're going to use our hands to see if we can get it to mix in just a little bit more. Yes, it is definitely working in better. Sometimes your hands work better than anything. Just make sure you wash really well before you do. Okay, so we're going to see, I think the consistency seems just right. So really what we're going to do is, you can make them larger, you can make them smaller. We're going to roll them like that. And then we're going to, this one we're going to roll it in the colored sugar. There are so many different really pretty Christmas sprinkles out there. I just brought just the one Christmas one, so we'll put that on here. So if you're making a tray up like this, if you do red ones and green ones, it's going to definitely look really attractive. Same thing, we're just going to roll it just like that. So there's another one. And I didn't try that, but I have these in the refrigerator, so they were nice. And since we've had such hot weather, I put them in the refrigerator, and we ate them cold out of the refrigerator. Go. And I'm assuming too there would be no problem, you could freeze the dough ahead. So we're going to use some of our really pretty sprinkles here. So you can make any kind. So there's 4 of those. We'll do one more. It kind of gets you the idea what they're supposed to look like. Or if you want to keep them white and then just roll them in sprinkles, they'd be just as pretty. So those are our Jingle Bells No Bake Sugar Cookie Balls. Okay, next we are making Merry Cherry Fudge. I'm adapting the recipe a little bit to what I have here at the library to use. It says to do it over, of course, your stove on low heat. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this high-tech burner, and we're going to spray it, obviously, with cooking sprays so we don't have a lot of sticky chocolate to clean up. Now, on your recipe also, it calls for the bittersweet chocolate. Instead of squares, we're using chips because these and the regular chips are going to be uniform. Whereas if you have the squares, they might melt slower. These will melt at the same time. And we're also putting it in with the sweetened condensed milk. You try to do these two together as the recipe indicates, and you're going to have burnt chocolate. So what we're going to do is, this is a very simple cherry fudge. We're going to adapt it. Also, we're going to put cherries in the fudge and not just on top. Okay? So we are going to put in the bittersweet chips. There's a Ghirardelli brand. I'm sure they have other brands out there, and then we're going to put in our whole 12-ounce bag, semi-sweet chocolate chips. Make sure they're real. Don't ever buy imitation. That doesn't work. Okay? Okay, so we have our 2 kinds of chips in here, the chocolate chips and the bittersweet chips. We're going to add our sweetened condensed milk. make sure it's sweetened condensed milk, not evaporated milk. There's a big difference in those. This is the one you bake with. The evaporated milk goes more into like pumpkin pie and that sort of thing. So we're going to mix these together on low heat. You don't want to put chocolate on high. Obviously, burnt chocolate is not what we want here. Now, if you prefer to put it in the microwave, which I've done at home, you put the chocolate chips, but bittersweet chips, and the sweetened condensed milk in the microwave, but do it on medium-high. Do it for like a minute, stir it, and then just stir it till it's completely melted. So while this is stirring up here a little bit, and it is melting very nicely on this high-tech burner, one thing I found out about fudge, which most of you don't know, or you might not know, my daughter worked on Mackinac Island, which we know is famous for their fudge. You do not refrigerate fudge. You keep it at room temperature, and I do not know why, but they've always said, you take your fudge home, you put it at room temperature. Now, I have frozen fudge at Christmas time, and it turns out it does just real well. So while this is cooking just a little bit longer, we're going to spray our 9x9 pan with my cooking spray. And even though your recipe does not call for it, we are going to put in just a few chopped maraschino cherries. See how thick this is getting? You got to be careful just to keep stirring it, because when you use Eagle brand milk, this fudge is almost foolproof. So it is almost done. So we want to get our cherries chopped up just to put in there. These are pretty much drained, so there's no problem with. So we're just going to put like a few of these in. And we'll also decorate the top. It calls for stems on the fudge. I just got the regular ones, that way I could use them in here, and we could use them also to decorate. Put a couple more of those in. This way it truly is a cherry fudge, not just chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. So we'll stir that in real quick. And it calls for a few pecans, so we're going to chop up just a few pecans. If you look here, you can tell that it's really, it's getting nice and thick. And we'll put a couple more in just to make it taste a little better. Okay. And we're going to just put just a few pecans in. You can always get the ones, if you want to, that are already chopped for you. We're just going to, these are halves, or these are mostly halves. The pecans will just give it just a little bit better flavor. And we'll stir it. Like I say, it is setting up very, very fast. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to put it in our pan here before it sets up anymore. I guarantee you this is extremely chocolatey. You could probably vary the chips if you wanted to, if you didn't want to really do the bittersweet ones. You see how nice the pan cleans up when you have a cookie spray on it? So we have that. And we're just going to spread it in the pan like this. And I'll show what we're going to do with the cherries that we have left over in our jar. I use these rubber spatulas for everything. And this will thicken up so you could actually eat in maybe an hour or two, or you could refrigerate it just till it's set up. Okay, see that? So all we're going to do now is, this is the final product. Okay, so we're just going to do the halves. And while it is still not completely set up, we're just going to put little halves like this. And then when you actually cut the fudge, you can cut it with the cherries on the pieces. So you have one cherry to each piece. And that's all there is to it. I've never had a problem with this, especially with the condensed milk. It is one of the easiest way to make fudge, and see how it will look once you refrigerate it. Then you can just cut it in those squares. And as I said before, here's your final product. So hope you enjoyed our Christmas in July, and stay tuned for maybe another edition next month. Thank you for joining us.